Let's see Exodus 16 and we all right, 16 to 13 to 15 is fine. Exodus 16, 13 to 15.
And it came to pass that at evening the quail came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay around above the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as a hard frost on the ground. And then the children of Israel saw it. They said one to another, it is a manner, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it, every man according to his eating, and of merit for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye the men for them which are in his tent.
All right, please read verse 12 also. I think we should have verse 12 of that same so that we will all hear what it says.
I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at evening ye shall eat fresh, and in the morning ye shall eat filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God.
Amen. So we see that God was telling them that He is the one who provides, and He can provide anything at any time in any location. And so when sometimes we complain and do all this thing and say, well, so God did it. So God provided them with bread from heaven and quail. So B is correct. Question 12. What did the children of Israel call the heavenly bread? I did it again. A. Manna. B. Onan. C. Catfish. D. Mint. All right, next time I'm going to only read only one. I'm not going to extend it. I'm trying to add context to it, and I keep failing. So it's all well. And so let's read it again, or this time Exodus 16, verse 15 only. No more, 15. No.
And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they was, and not it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat.
All right, so manna is correct, and A. So we see that they gave it a name. God is saying that it's bread from heaven, and then they are saying it's manna. So they, well, decided to give it that name. Let's do one more. Leave it for next time. Okay. Well, if we do, let's go ahead and do it then. All right. I'm game. I enjoy it. So question 13. Let's see. 13 says, how many days were the people supposed to gather the food? A. Every day. B. 6 days. C. On the Sabbath. D. Seventh day. A, B, C, or D. All right, so let's go and find out. Exodus again. 16, 26 to 28. We won't read more. We only read those. Exodus 16.
You shall gather, but on the seventh day of the Sabbath there will be none. Now it happened that some of the people went out on the seventh day to gather, but they found none. And the Lord said to Moses, how long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws?
Well, amen. And so, what do? We don't listen, right? So, God specifically told them that, what He wanted them to do. And God said, you are going to be able to eat this meal and you will get it, but when it comes to the seventh day, of course, God specifically gave them commandments, instructions, 6 days you shall gather. But on the seventh day, you're not going to get anything. And so God provided. God knew what He was doing. And He said, we know nowadays everything expires. Even water expires, food expires, everything expires. And so, but in this case, God preserved them and gave them that, when it says, and it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none. And they went. God has provided. God knows how to preserve. And so the seventh day, God made it so that the sixth day when they gather, it will be preserved. But those who may have thought, oh, okay, well, let me go and check. So that is why God has said the seventh day is a Sabbath. And okay, let me not say much because we may be entering a place where I have to say. But anyway, God said the seventh day was not going to, they were not supposed to go out, they were supposed to stay and worship and meditate and serve God. And so they failed because they wanted to disobey, and that was part of complaining and murmuring. So may God help us all. All right, so 6 days is correct. B. Question 14. How long did the Israelites eat the manna? A. 40 days. B. 40 years. C. It was not stated. D. 44 years. A, B, C, or D. All right, let's go and find out. Exodus 16. And that is a very, very great revelation for us to know. And I'm trying to see if we should read more, so but it's only going to be. All right, we'll just read that. Exodus 16, verse 35.
And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years until they came to the land inhabited. Then they eat manna until they came unto the border of the land of Canaan.
So we see how God fed them. And that's why there's a hymn we have says, bread of heaven, fill me till I want no more. Maybe we'll sing it. And so we see that God provided for them. And God provided every day for them, 40 years. And they were in the wilderness. They didn't have a microwave. They didn't have a stove. They didn't have, but God provided for them. So, of course, we know they probably had a way to make fire and all, which they did. But they didn't have the gas cooker and all of this that we set in oven. So God provided for them 40 years. And it is also stated in the Psalms that the clothing they wore, their shoes didn't wear out, they didn't tear. And how can we do that? 40 years, they went back and forth or they continued on the journey, but everything that God provided, God used miraculous powers to guide them, to help them. And so the question that we should be asking ourselves is that, are we grabbing or claiming all the spiritual blessings that God has given to us? God has not changed. We have changed. But God can provide the blessings and the result that we need if we go back and ask for forgiveness and pray that God show us the same blessing that you showed to the Israelites 40 years, and we will not complain, we will not murmur, and we will do your will. So 40 years, B is correct. We go to question 15. What was the most important item for the Israelites as they journeyed in the wilderness? A. Protection. B. Meat. C. Cucumber and leeks, which they craved. Or D. Water. A, B, C, or D. All right. So let us go back to, I believe we have two separate verses and we'll read that. Okay, Exodus 15 this time. Exodus 15, 1, 5, verses 23 and 24. Let's see if we can add more. Exodus 15.
When they came to Mara, they could not drink the water of Mara, for they were bitter. And therefore the name of it was called Mara. And the people complained against Moses, saying, What shall we drink?
And that's a big question. And so, well, if they had changed the question, is that, what has God provided? That would have been a better question. Okay, question, the next verse, Exodus 17. And we'll just read verse 1. Okay, let's add 2 to it. 17, 1 and 2, please. No, just verse 1. I think I don't want to promise not to go to read too much. 17, verse 1, please.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after the journeys, according to the commandment of the law, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water from the people to drink.
All right, so water, water is great, and water was the most important item the Israelites, needed. For them, it was. All right, question. So D is correct. Question 16, and we'll be done. 16 says, what was the Israelites' third sin against the Lord when they quarreled with prophet Moses? A. Idolatry. B. Contended with Moses, tempted the Lord, and complained against Moses. C. They did not commit another sin after the second time. Or D. Fear. Go back to the book of Exodus. Okay, well, the actual question is that we won't answer that. So all right, I will save that because the next question 17 says, in what chapter in Exodus and verses are they recorded?
17 verse 2.
I promise I was not going to say more, but again, I failed. So, all right, let's read Exodus 17, verses 2 and 3. Exodus 17, 2 and 3.
Therefore the people contended with Moses, and said, Give us water, that we may drink. So Moses said to them, Why do you contend with me? Why do you tempt the Lord? The people thirsted there for water. The people complained against Moses, saying, Why is it that you have brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children, our livestock first?
So we can see that they sinned the third time. So, it's sometimes, we would say that we sin once and God forgives. We sin again, God forgives, and so and we have seen many times. And so the Israelites in this case, first they did this, and then they contended with Moses, and then tempted the Lord, and then complained again. And so it is something that they did, and God gave Prophet Moses, great patience, because they really harassed him, and to the point that it was just too much. All right, so that is the answer there, and B is correct to question 16. Now, question 18, the last question. What solution did the Lord prescribe to satisfy the people's thirst? And the question is, find out the answer from the book of Exodus. So what would we say? What is the answer to the solution? All right, so let's read Exodus. Or do we all agree? Is that all? Okay. Exodus 17, 5 to 7. Again, I was planning that we would, be reading and checking things out. Exodus 17, 5 to 7, please.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel, and the rod wherewith thou smoothest the river, take in turn and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Hebron, and thou shalt smash the rock, and there shall come water out of it, and that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Mazah and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Lord, saying, Is the Lord among us or not?
All right, before I say we go back and read more, I think we want to understand fully. We go and read Numbers 20, 10 and 11. Numbers 20, 10 and 11. See what is written there.
Numbers 20, 10 and 11.
20, 10 and 11.
And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear now, ye Rebel must eat flesh with the altar of his rock. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smashed the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and this also.
All right, and we'll read one more. Let's see. All right, well, I think we'll just leave it out. What actually happened? The information is not given in this, but I was going to read that. But that's what actually happened, where we see that Prophet Moses, when God commanded him to go and stand before the Israelites because they wanted to drink water, and let's find out. Let's add one more question to it before we do. Why did Prophet Moses not go to the Canaan land? This is an open question. Yes, anybody can give an. Why did he not make it to the promised land?
Because he struck the rock 2 times instead of pointing to it as God commanded.
And yours answer? You have a different answer, or
No, that was it.
okay? Yes. God had said, "Speak to the rock," and the rock is who? Who was the rock that they saw there?
Jesus.
Yeah, the Lord Jesus Christ was the rock, and they didn't know, you know, and God had said, "Speak to the rock, and water will gush out." And but when he went there, of course, again he was patient, all right, but the murmurings, the complaints, all of this thing was too much on him. They were harassing him. Where's water? We are thirsty. We are dying. When this thing and all that. And so when God said, just go and speak to the rock, and water will come out, so that the people will be filled with amazement, with excitement, to say that, wow, he spoke to the rock and water came out. He went and just said, "You people, you are stubborn. You are," and so he struck the rock, and um, in anger, because he was angry, and God said, "Because you didn't honor me to speak to the rock, and you would have made Israelites to know that I can do miracles, extra miracles, to speak to and let water come out of the rock." So that was his sin, his only sin. In spite of all the things that he did, the wonderful things, he just failed, and God was angry at him and said that because you did not do that, you are not going to enter the promised land, and that was the sad part of it. So we read it, but well, that's we've already spent all the time. So yes, he was supposed to speak to the rock, but he struck it and said, you know. So in anger, but we have to be careful that anger doesn't get hold of us, and then we do or say things which we are not supposed to say, and we know that we have all said things in anger, which sometimes bad things, and may we remember what do we read? Is it Proverbs 19, which I think we've used that as Psalm 19, 13 and 14.